Alright, now that we've reviewed our area formulas, what we're going to look at is how do we solve these problems? Well, what we're looking for is the area. How much area, or how much like two-dimensional, it's not really space, but two-dimensional pieces are we really taking up? And how much is it like, how much this shape here, how much is it separating itself from the rest? So we just want to know how big. Now, we don't have a formula for this, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sided figure, but we do have area formulas for things that are triangles, and there's a triangle on the top of this, so I'm just going to mark it. There's a triangle on the top of that, and then I do have formulas for rectangles, so I'm going to mark that as well. So this thing, instead of having this 7-sided, I believe it was 7-sided figure, what we have instead is a triangle and then 2 rectangles. So I'm going to identify this one, its area is, and my triangle formula is half base times height. This one's a rectangle, area equals length times width, and this one also is a rectangle, and it is area equals length times width. So all I have to do is identify the pieces or the lengths that I'm working with. Well, this one looks like it's 2 by 3, so this one's going to be 2 by 3, which is 6. This is 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to call this 4, and 8 equals 32. Now what I'm going to do with each of those areas is I've already figured this one out, so I'm going to put it in there and I'm going to circle it. Now when I circle things like this, what I'm doing is I'm just telling myself, because it's my paper and it's my work and it's my process, just telling myself, hey, I've got these things finished, and as I finish them I just circle them, and then when I circle, I'm telling myself also these things are going to have to be added to each other later. I'm not done until I have put the total, and total means added everything up. So until I have the total, I'm not finished. So here I have my triangle, and my triangle is 2, the height, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is the same as down here if I had not known that, and that's going to be 8. I'm going to mark it right on that line because that's where it is. 2 times 8, so I have 1/2. My base is 8, and my height is 2. 2 times 8 is 16, so this is 1/2 times 16, or 8. And then here's my 8 up here. Well, what do I have to do with 8, 32, and 16? I have to add them together. So 8 plus 32 plus 6. So 8, 10, 16, 3, 4. So this is my area over here, 46, and I don't have a marking for how big they are or how long those things are, so I'm just going to call it units squared. This thing over here, I'm going to look at it the same way that I did the other one. I have a triangle up top, a triangle on the bottom, and then I have this really long rectangle. Now the rectangle could be 2 smaller rectangles, or it could be each of the triangles, whatever, right? Or, excuse me, it could be this rectangle down here and the longer one, whatever I want to do here. So I've got a triangle, which is area equals 1/2 base times the height. That's going to be 2 times 3, so it's 1/2. 2 times 3, which is 6 times 1/2 is 3. I got a little close there, but that's alright. And there's my 3, and I put a little circle in there. This one, let's draw it over here. A equals 1/2 base times height again, because it's a triangle. 3 by 4. 1/2. 3 by 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Times 1/2 is 6. And I put that in there to let myself know I'm done with that section now. Okay? over here, now here's a trick that they're going to do on some of the problems. 8 by 4 is only this section right down here. It doesn't include this section. So we're going to have to either do this section and then this section. What I would prefer to this 8 and the 3 and make the whole length 11. And now this is area equals length times width, because it's a rectangle, and the length is, let's go with 11, and the width is 4, and that's 4 times 11 is 44. Now, if you'll remember, what I said about this earlier is if I have 44, 3, and 6 are all circled, I have to add them up to finish this. So 3 plus 6 is 9, plus that is 13, 4, 5. So it's 53. And since we have feet, it's going to be 53 feet, and then the feet are going to be squared because it's an area. And I'm going to put a rectangle around my final answer. I always mark my final answers with rectangles. I mark things that I'm working on in circles, and then my final one gets the rectangle. And this should have had an area equals on it. Last one. Now this one's going to have to be in 2 pieces, which is cool. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this rectangle, area equals length times width. Well, kind of lucky in the sense that both of these numbers are 10. 10 times 10 equals 100. So this has an area of 100 because it's 10 squared, or 10 times 10, or 100. Should be something that we all knew. 10 times 10 is 100. 100 is a square with a length 10. And then this problem over here is the circle again. So to find the area of a circle, we need to have area equals pi r squared. Okay. Now, a lot of people freak out because, well, it's not marked. It's not marked. Well, what am I going to do? And this is something that repeatedly happens to us in these problems. And what we're trying to do here is give you an example of something that we did not mark on purpose, but you need to know you can figure it out. There is an answer for every single one of these, and the answer for this length for here. Okay? This length, since it is a rectangle, this length is the same as the opposite length. So just to remind myself, I'm just going to put a 10 over here. Now, if this length is 10, that means this length is 5. Okay? So every single time that you're looking at a line and you need it, what you should do is look at the other end. There are other things that are telling me things around the problem. Every single problem on these worksheets has an answer to it. It's just not written down right here. Okay? So we're going to use 3.14 for pi, and then our radius is 5. Okay? So 3.15 times 5 squared is going to be 3.14 times 25, and 3.14 times 20 is 78.5. Now, 78.5 represents a circle. So it represents the entire circle. It represents the whole thing that would have been here. This, however, is an entire circle, but my picture only has half of the circle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take 78.50 and I'm going to divide it by 2, because that's how much of the circle I need. And that is 39.25. Notice I didn't circle that. This is what I needed. So this part here is 39.25. There's my circle. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to take my circled pieces and I'm going to add them together. And if we add these together, 100 plus 39.25 is 139.25. And it's meters. There I go. So, this is what I did. I started these things identifying what kind of pieces are we dealing with. Rectangle, rectangle, or excuse me, triangle, rectangle, 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 triangle, rectangle case, and circle. And then I used my areas, my formulas for them, which are right here. I made my formulas, put my formulas out, and then I substituted into each of the formulas, and then I calculated. My work might look messy, but I did what I had to do to find the little pieces and then put the little pieces together, and I marked the big pieces in rectangles. All right, show your work. This is a critical piece of the curriculum for the 7th grade. I know everybody can handle it. Have a good day.